Joins us now. Welcome, Your Honor. It's good to see you. Gas prices are a practical and political issue, and the midterms are looming. How do you assess the consequences of the conflict in the Middle East as it relates to gas prices?
Well, right now, we can expect to see short-term fluctuations and instability in the market. That is typical anytime there's a conflict in the Persian Gulf. And that will be a natural reaction, but also a big distinction, just like Secretary Wright was pointing out there, in the long-term stability and the long-term indicators of where we are going to land. One of the major purposes behind this situation in Iran right now was to try to promote stability in a region, to try to actually promote having a stable regime, to stop the decades of Iran using oil supply and those international shipping channels as leverage against its political adversaries. So the long-term indicators here are very good, and I do not expect come November that this is something that is still going to be a problem facing U.S. markets and prices.
All right, Laurel, you got to be smart to be on Energy and Commerce and Judiciary, so you're the perfect person for me to ask. Some Americans are wondering why the U.S. is a net exporter of energy if we need it here, because we do have supply here, so I'm sure they're probably wondering why not keep it here.
Well, that is actually a great thing for us to be thinking about. So America has vast potential for energy production and of all different sorts. So we can think about oil, we can natural gas, nuclear. There's a lot of potential for America to be producing energy today and also building that capacity in years to come. So absolutely, that's something that we need to be doing. We also need to think about expanding our global trade partners, where there are other places that we can be going to build those partnerships so we're not subject to relying upon hostile regimes like we see in Iran. That being said, one of the important features about this conflict is seeing how many other partners in the region have emerged. So this is very much a political operation by a hostile regime in Iran that I do not think is going to extend more broadly to the region and the relationships with the United States. But we've been working very hard in Congress to ensure that we're building out American energy production, deregulating where we can to smooth the pathway to making America more energy independent, and also focusing on resilience so when we do have a challenge or a problem with our infrastructure or a crisis, we're prepared, we're redundant, we're ready to restore back so Americans aren't feeling that kind of impact.
All right, Laurel, let's switch hemispheres for a second. Venezuela is a wonderful opportunity, but my friends in the oil and gas industry tell me it's more like 5 years away and not 5 months away because it just takes a while to build up the infrastructure or get it up to speed. Am I right that Venezuela is a great long-term option, but maybe not between now and November?
You are absolutely right. So there's a tremendous potential partnership with Venezuela. We have seen now the president's administration is really connecting on every level. We had our initial operation to make sure that our fugitive was apprehended. But now we've moved on to a place where we can really look at developing political, economic, strategic ties potentially with Venezuela if they are on a pathway to making good decisions and is a good partner for us in the region, which they certainly have the potential to be. So sending senior level officials from the Trump administration down to engage in those kind of talks is a real indication for us about the kind of partnership we could be building. So that's one component, but I think the key message is that we as Americans need to be focused on our own energy independence. So the partnerships are a great addition, that's a great complement, but we want to be able to stand on our own and ensure that we have that stability both for our own goods and services and transportation, but also so that we can make sure that our markets stay steady and even, and that Americans don't have to deal with this kind of volatility that we see when we're dependent on someone who's our adversary.
That's a great point. That's why you were a judge, and now a member of Congress on 2 really important committees. Laurel Lee, I always enjoy having you on. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
I appreciate the conversation, Trey.